Dallas is ground zero for Ebola concerns in the U.S. The healthcare worker in isolation aboard a cruise ship and two nurses being treated for Ebola all worked at the Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital in Dallas. Vicente Arenas is there with new concerns about one of the nurses who later got onto a flight to Cleveland. Good morning.
Good morning, Anthony. This morning, we're hearing that the president of Frontier Airlines sent an email to employees saying that a nurse who later tested positive for Ebola and was a passenger in one of their flights may have been at a more advanced stage of the illness than previously thought. Meantime, here in Texas, health officials are asking 75 workers to stay away from mass transit in public places while they're being tested for Ebola. One worker left on a cruise before active monitoring began and this morning is returning on a cruise ship.
The carnival magic is returning to Galveston and is expected to arrive Sunday morning. On board, a lab supervisor who may have handled samples belonging to Thomas Eric Duncan, who died of Ebola 10 days ago. The worker is in isolation, but showing no symptoms. The cruise ship was not allowed to dock in Mexico, and Belize refused to let the passenger off the ship to fly back to the U.S. The Prime Minister of Belize said there were still too many unanswered questions about how the virus spreads.
If it had been at all possible to do this thing in a way that could absolutely have eliminated any possibility of any risk to Belizeans, I would have been willing.
Two nurses who were diagnosed with Ebola after treating Duncan have been moved to other facilities. On Thursday night, 26-year-old Nina Pham was flown to the National Institutes of Health in Maryland. Texas Presbyterian Hospital shot this video of Pham in her isolation room before she left.
Come to Maryland, everybody.
Party in Maryland? Okay. You need anything?
NIH Director Anthony Fauci said Pham is in fair condition, eating and resting comfortably.
She's getting optimum intensive care if needed, therapy, but it's also being done with the optimum protection of our healthcare workers.
The second nurse infected with Ebola, Amber Vinson, was moved from Dallas Wednesday. The 29-year-old was flown to Emory University Hospital in Atlanta. Her condition is not being released. Vinson flew to Cleveland last weekend, and this week Frontier Airlines notified hundreds of passengers who flew on her flight and other flights made by the same plane. Presbyterian nurse Brianna Aguirre was part of the team that treated Pham and told CBS's Anna Werner the hospital was not prepared to handle an Ebola patient. She says her protective suit was a big concern.
Right away I said, this leaves my neck exposed. Oh, we know, and we're having you tape that closed.
CDC Director Tom Frieden spoke out immediately after the infections at the Texas hospital.
But at some point, there was a breach in protocol, and that breach in protocol resulted in this infection.
During a congressional hearing on Thursday, Texas hospital executive Daniel Varga defended his staff in video testimony.
We know that they are both extremely skilled nurses, and we're using full protective measures under the CDC protocols. So we don't yet know precisely how or when they were infected. But it's clear there was an exposure somewhere, sometime.
This morning, the CDC is telling us that it will release new protocols on how to handle Ebola cases. Meantime, the family of Thomas Eric Duncan will hold a memorial service in North Carolina. Vanita?
Vicente Arenas in Dallas this morning. Thank you.